Welcome, welcome, everybody. Hi, how are you guys this morning? Hello. Oh, I love seeing you guys wave. I love it. I don't know, my light's not very good this morning. Let me see if I can get better light. How are you guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. This week I have been looking at what brings me joy. I've just noticed some little joyful moments here and there. And as we are all coming in to the group, I would love to see in the chat what brings you joy. One of the things that really brought me joy this week was a FaceTime call with my grandson. He's only a year old. And oh my gosh, we had so much fun. He was growling at me. We were playing, monsters, and it just was so much fun. Another thing that I noticed about joy is that it is just contagious. When people, hi, you guys, hi, Anne, hi, Savan, hi, you guys. I hope you guys got on okay. I know that Zoom had an update, and I hope you guys got on. Hi, Barbara. Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. So what brings you joy? What brings you joy? I love seeing Judy's artwork. I love seeing her artwork on Facebook. It's just absolutely beautiful. So is there anybody that would like to unmute themselves and tell me what brings them joy?
Yeah, and also in the chat, go ahead and put in the chat what brings you joy. I see Connie says my joy is connecting with my friends and moving my body. That's so fun. Savan says being able to serve, knowing I got overtime for 12 days this month, excluding my holidays, enabling more income for Seva. Ah, so cool. Padmalaya, tending my flowers and doing artwork.
And Padmalaya's artwork was beautiful. I love seeing her post on Facebook this week. It was so great.
Yeah, we got Carol, unexpected visit from my son, daughter-in-law and granddaughter. First time since December, precious 5 hours. Wow.
It's amazing. Supposed to say daughter-in-love, and I mistyped it.
Okay. I like that much better. Daughter-in-love versus daughter-in-law. That's very, very good.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Gary's music brings me joy. I was listening to the Shift Network's music festival again last night, and I just found his music and listened to it, and oh my gosh, that song by Ken Roslin, the one who wrote it? It was
the one that Kim Rosen wrote the lyrics. I wrote the
yes
music. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's just beautiful. I just loved it. So it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Gary's music brings me joy. What brings you guys joy?
I want to share one thing that brings me joy. Recently I was able to be with Gary's mother. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see Gary's mama?
It's beautiful.
She's 97. What's that, Gary?
Not me. I didn't say anything.
Okay. She's 97 years old, and she wrote this beautiful, fun book. It's called A Jewish Mother's Guide to Professional Worry. It's so fun. I
love it.
I was just reading some of it, and she's like, I didn't keep my best secrets in there, but I just thought to read you. She has 10 commandments for worry. And her name is Pearl. So these are Pearl's 10 commandments of worry. Commandment number 1, thou shalt eat chocolate ice cream and chocolate in general. Medical studies show that it has a calming effect on the body. Commandment number 2, thou shalt eat chocolate ice cream in a hot bath. Don't get too fancy about it. Massages, jacuzzis, forget them. Just a simple hot bath and a bowl full of ice cream will do. Maybe a little whipped cream and nuts. Commandment number 3, thou shalt worry with love and gratitude. Always worry with love and love your worries. Remember that wherever your worries take you, spice them with love. Every worry presents a new opportunity to love. Commandment number 4, thou shalt not medicate. Antidepressants and worry don't mix. Some people take pills in the face of upsetting situations. It's difficult to worry effectively when using too much medication. Sometimes it's better not to worry at all until you're feeling a bit stronger. Wounded or medicated warriors can't seem to worry as well. Wounded warriors turn worry into an obsession. If you have to take medication for extreme situations, that's fine. But when you're feeling better, that's when you can start worrying again. And she says, steady daily worrying can sometimes do more good than antidepressants. And she says, now commandment number 5, thou shalt exercise your worry all the time. Remember that healthy worry is a little exercise. Doing the right proportions of it can strengthen you. Worry a little bit all the time. A little worry here, a little worry there. Even when things are okay, worry a little bit. Worry is like a muscle you must keep in shape. That way when you really need it, the worry muscle will be strong. Like workouts in the gym, never overdo it or you can get hurt. Just exercise a healthy amount of worry all the time. If you stop worrying altogether when things have turned out okay, you might later get caught off guard. Then you'll need to begin all over again. I just read a study which demonstrated that optimists do no better, sometimes far worse, when faced with depressing or upsetting situations. This is a consequence of expecting the best rather than worrying all along the way. Worrying is like preparing for the worst and being relieved when it's not so bad. And then I'm just gonna read one more. Her commandment number 8 is this: call the next best thing. Make sure you get a priest or a rabbi to worry about you too. Many priests I've noticed are too depressed to be able to worry. And many rabbis are so worried about losing their job they can't worry about their congregation. Don't let them get off the hook. Like with Job, God wants us to worry. He wants us to have a sense of awe. She has so many other ones. One is call your mother, reach for the phone. After a hot bath, go into Pearl's longtime routine. Follow Pearl's recipe, wear loose, plain-fitting clothes, make regular phone calls, and visit witness worriers. It's just so fun. She is is one of the most dynamic, amazing people, Pearl, and it's been so fun to just recently spend time with her. Give her a copy of my book, which she was so excited to have. You get a copy of her book. What a gift she is to the planet, and what a gift she gave us and Gary, who she loves so much, so much. So that's one of the things that brings me joy. What else brings you joy? It's so fun to read these. Richard says, moving my body and breath and connecting with people on so much deeper level, more meaningful way. Jana, you were saying you want some people to unmute?
Yeah, if they'd love to unmute and share their joyful story, would love to hear it. Padmalai, are you just unmute? Yep, go ahead, just unmute.
Hi. I was rediscovering this week a couple of books, speaking of books, that have brought me joy and healing and wonderful feelings. And do these show up backwards when you guys see it right away?
I can see it.
This is the first one. It's called Pieces Every Step by the Zen Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh. And this book, it's a joy to rediscover it because it really saved me back when Carson had autism, my son Carson. And this is another little one. He actually gave me this one. He used to work at the bookstore and he bought it himself. And it's like a sort of like best of or something like that. But if it's okay, I want to read a little poem that is from the inside of the beginning of this one. It's really short, okay? It says, here, my eyes, I have to get situated. Peace is every step. The shining red sun is my heart. Each flower smiles with me. How green, how fresh, all that grows. How cool the wind blows. Peace is every step. It turns the endless path to joy. And I just love that. It gives me tingles every time I read it.
It does me too. And we have been talking the last few weeks about contagious healing, and joy is contagious as well. And it's very healing. So Padmalaya, thank you so much for reading that. It's beautiful. I love it.
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you, Jana. What a great way to start off today. What a great way to start off today. Today we have such a special, exciting, I woke up with like a special kind of excitement, like Christmas morning or Diwali morning. I had this anticipation of what's possible today I just felt like it's the right time to share Dr. Naram's secrets, some of the secrets I learned from him for how do you turn your biggest problems into your biggest opportunities and biggest blessings. And so on today's call, I'm going to share some of the secrets from that. And we have some real special real special things that are going to occur. So I would say have your heart open. I would even get a notebook. If you have one, get a notebook ready with a pen, because I think, you know, Jana's got it there. Something's going to happen on today's call, some inspiration, and it may not even be anything that we say, but something that just comes into your heart that can really change your life forever. And I don't know why I didn't share some of this before, but this particular secrets, I think, are life changing. And then also, you know, it's so funny, since the 30 days of silence, I keep promising to share a certain story that's like totally changed my life since then, and it has to do perfectly with this topic: how you change the biggest obstacle, the biggest challenge, the biggest difficulty in your life into the biggest blessing. And really, thanks to some of the secrets Dr. Naram taught me, that lots of us in this miracle experiment game have been applying and using, we've seen, wow, from just applying 3 of these secrets, our whole life can change. So what if if a little new perspective comes, or we learn one more secret? What else is possible? So on that note, I'm real excited to start today. And Jana, you have anything else you want to share as we're starting off today?
No, I'm hanging on I can't wait to hear your story. I just can't wait.
And I want to welcome everyone, you know, from my heart to your heart. What a week we've been in, you know. Who feels like, yeah, actually, just real quick, I'm just read this from Rochelle. She said, I took a lesson from Clint's World and snuck up on my dad Friday night. I had a spontaneous urge to visit him, so I jumped in the car for the 5-hour journey. When I arrived, he was watching TV, and I just peeked around the corner and I said hello. His tears began to flow. He was in real need of company. He has shared several times how much he appreciates me being there. Ah, it's so beautiful, Rochelle. Rochelle, can you unmute yourself and just say what that meant to you, that moment?
Hi, yeah, I'm still here, and I just told him I'm coming out for a meeting, and he's just so grateful for me to be here. And doesn't that just touch our hearts when somebody has experienced so much gratitude just for a little thing that you've done? So we've just done simple things, walked and picked some apples from the neighbor's tree, and you know, gone out to eat. But it's just been really beautiful to be here with him. Yeah.
Ah, so beautiful.
And what joy, right? What joy does that bring when I've got tears now just thinking about it. But, you know, his tears just began to flow, and I knew how important it was that I was there.
How priceless. You know,
Yeah,
you leaned into love, and you followed that voice, you know, that prompting. And you probably have no idea how much that meant, you know, in that moment. And
yeah.
man, the world is full of so much turmoil right now in so many ways. The fires in California, you know, just the earthquakes that are happening, the different things, even just people watch the news. You don't even have to have a natural disaster. Just watch the news and you'll feel upset, you know, or watch a little bit of the presidential debate. You can feel upset instantly. If you want to follow secret recipe for worry, you know, one of the new commandments is watch the news or watch the presidential debate. Then all of a sudden you'll feel great concern about the state of the world. So,
Thank you.
yeah, now we have such an opportunity in this group, you know, this sacred, beautiful group, this miracle group. You know, you've been attracted here for a reason, and it's a space in which you can see, man, there's so much reason to hope. And there's so much reason to be more excited now than ever. It's such a gift to be alive now. And so that seems pretty extreme, because lots of people are in the state of feeling like the world is falling apart, you know, everything's happening, and so much fear and so much anxiety. And a lot of people in this group are sensitive, and you might start to feel that anxiousness, that anxiety, and think it's yours. But also, we're just collectively as a human race, you know, we're experiencing this great change. And as we're talking about mothers and fathers, you know, the analogy that someone gave me once is, imagine you don't know childbirth. You don't know childbirth. You don't know anything about the process of having kids. You're walking on the street, and on the sidewalk, you see a woman screaming, and you see blood coming out of her and water coming out of her. And you think, this is the most horrible thing in the world. This is like crazy. And this is dangerous. And this worst thing ever. And all of a sudden, you see a little baby come out, you know, and then you learn, oh, this is childbirth. And more than ever, I think that analogy applies in the world today. So much is happening that looks not pleasant, and if you tap into the fear parts of it, you get spun into this. But at the same time, Dr. Naram, this guy, man, he had certain secrets. See any problem, and the bigger the problem, the more excited he got. you know like if it was a small problem, he was interested, but see, the bigger the problem he got, the more excited he got. How? And why would he get more excited the bigger the problem? And if we can just get a little transmission of that secret into us today, what's possible for us as we're experiencing this kind of rebirth in humans, and how can we be? Dr. always says you're either a part of the problem or you're part of the solution. And he always taught us, how do you become part of the solution? And I believe you're on this call right now because you have a very unique role to play in restructuring at least your own life and the lives. And when you change your life, like Jana was saying, it's contagious. Contagion happens, we so much on this call where as you change your life, it changes automatically the lives of those around you. And then who knows what can happen for your society, for your clients, for your friends, for your community, for this world, as you change what's possible for all of us. So Gare, I'm so grateful for Gary, man. What a big week in his life. The launching of Thrive 2, which is such a beautiful, documentary, a conversation starter of so many possibilities you may never have considered before. And he scored the music in such a way that first time ever in his professional career, he scored an entire film without one correction or one request for changing something different. And you listen to it and the music helps you sink more into your heart as you struggle with these complex and sometimes difficult concepts, difficult things that are happening on the. So Gare, as we're going to face today some of our biggest challenges and some of our biggest, heartaches and pains, I just want you to drop us in our heart so we can be in a different place and be ready to learn. I love you so much, Gare. Oh,
Thank you. I got it. Thank you. Hello, everybody. God, I didn't really like to wake up early on a Sunday morning, but boy, I'm so enjoying the miracle call, and it's so much fun. We were thinking about this thing about how can we turn trials into the greatest gifts and opportunities, right? And so I always love trying to evaluate, well, what track would help us all drop in deeper to face that theme, And Clint, I think the On the Edge of the Unknown is the one I'm getting, so I'm going to play that one. It's a little over 6 minutes, and if that's all right with you, my friend.
beautiful.
So I took this candle and I lit it. And so if any of you have a candle nearby, let's just make these next few minutes that I'm going to be playing this music a sacred time, sacred space. And many people believe that listening is a path to the divine. So deep listening, allowing ourselves to not be distracted, just dropping in and letting all of the dust, or like the dirt in the water in the lake, just letting the silt just settle down to the bottom, right? So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to allow ourselves to settle down and let our hearts and our souls and our bodies and our minds all come online, okay? And I'm going to play a track that I played before. A woman that I work with, her name is Sarah McCrum, sarahmccrum.com, and we started creating these spontaneous recordings that we call transformances. And she's in the solo ISO booth and I'm in the piano, and spontaneously, we don't know what we're going to do. And she starts speaking and I start playing, and I kind of feel like I'm scoring a movie in the moment, right? Only the movie is her voice. And it's so fun and so beautiful. And this one is particularly interesting because it's really the medicine for trial is being present. And this is all about a whole new way of looking at being present and in the moment. So allow yourself to just, whether you want to close your eyes or not, I don't know if you'll be pinning the video. I think this is more of an internal journey. And I invite you to drop in, and whether you have a candle or not, let's use these next 6 minutes or so as sacred listening time, as a family, as a tribe. Okay? All right, here we go. sharing. Okay. Bear with me. Here we go. Don't forget to breathe. Use that breath to drop in. Here we are. See you on the other side.
Step forward with me. We're going into a different space. We're going to put one foot in front of the other. Moving through life. Onto the edge of the unknown. Your whole experience sits behind you. A mountain of knowledge. Your strength. Your achievements. And all your learning. And in front of you lies what? Maybe you think you know. But in truth, do we ever really know? So let's be here for a while, on the edge of the unknown, in the space between the past and the future. Fully present, fully alive in this moment. Free of all your knowledge and yet strengthened by it. Unconstrained by all your plans. And yet facing forward into the unknown. Step by step. Walking into your life as life moves through you. This is the wild place. The place where you're raw. Open. This is the place of playful creativity. It's the place of delight and This is the place of your innocence. Where you find yourself revealed for who you really are. We are on the edge of the unknown. We are in the pure wilderness of our inner life. We are alive. So let's put one foot in front of the other as we walk forward on the edge of the unknown.
Gary, you're muted. You're muted, Gary.
Sorry. So in this moment, when you feel the wilderness of your experience, the pure wilderness, I love that phrase, think about the challenge and remember that nothing ever is wrong in the present moment. And so our ability to drop in to the edge of the unknown, the present moment, the trial turns into this incredible gift, an opportunity. We look at it with such freshness. So I thank you, Clint, for giving me the opportunity. And I never know when I'm going to be on the miracle call, but I love it when I am. And thank you for giving me the chance to share. And if you guys want more of information on how to get stuff like that, I'll put it in the chat. But thank you for considering and allowing this musical experience to drop us in together. All my love.
Ah, so beautiful, Gary. Wow. When you're at the edge of the unknown, stepping one foot in front of the other. That was so powerful. And for those that find benefit in these music that Gary's sharing, another great news is that wisdomoftheworld.com, the new website, was just launched and has in it so many resources that whenever you're in one of those critical moments, like even before you have a conversation with your child, or before an important business meeting, or before you make a decision about yourself, a lot of my Facebook lives this week were about the thoughts we think of ourselves. I shared about that quote that was on my brother's wall for a long time that says, your worth is independent of what other people think of you. And, your worth is independent of what other people think of you. And then my realization that your worth is also independent of what you think of yourself. So many times we're so hard on ourselves. So if you're ever in one of those moments where you start to notice, oh, these thoughts are coming that are not kind to myself, you can listen to this music before you make a decision about yourself. And it drops you from your head to your heart. And then you just have a different resource toolbox to access when you're coming from that state of presence, of heart coherence, of gratitude. And so I'm so grateful, Gare, during this such an important call today, and that you dropped us into our hearts so much. Jana, you have anything you want to share along those lines?
I use Gary's music often, probably multiple times a week. They really do help me get centered, especially, when I am looking to something that's a little bit more challenging or something that I need a little bit more focus on. And they're just so beautiful. Or if I need inspiration, I use the Lisa Nichols one, Releasing the Champion Within. It's just so beautiful. So thank you for this gift that you guys are offering to us, launching this new website. So excited to explore it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so fun. Well, I am so grateful for you showing up today and for what it can mean in your life. All of us face challenges. It's part of life. I heard one speaker say once, have you met anyone without any problems? And he's like, yeah, they're dead. So as long as you have a problem, it's a sign that you're alive. It's a sign of life. One of the quotes in the book, actually, that when I gave it to Gary's mom, she opened up right to this quote that was in one of the chapters. That says, instead of going up to anyone and asking them, how are you doing, you could just as easily go up to anyone and say, where does it hurt? Where does it hurt? Because we all have these hidden wounds and hidden pains, and sometimes something seems unfortunate because it rubs that wound, but according to the second principle of the miracle experiment game, aditi devo bhava. Aditi devo bhava means to treat the unexpected guest as if God himself or herself has come to visit. Well, if you really live that, then you have to assume that this thing that's rubbing that wound is a gift. It's God showing up for some reason. And perhaps it's because there's something in you that finally wants to be seen. Finally, it wants to be healed. And finally, it wants to free you so you can have a different experience of life. And, Jaina has had some beautiful experiences along those lines. She shared with me this week on a video, an 11-minute video she did that just brought me to tears, and it reminded me, as I'm reading actually a lot of the stories of people whose lives have changed as a result of reading the book. And we have this whole writer speaker group that meets once a week, where if you have a story, a personal story in which your life has changed, some miracle you saw, or some way that your heart has been touched, or your has been moved or inspired in some way, it helped you physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, relationship, whatever, then you can join this group. And it's so amazing reading these stories and realizing that the type of healing that we think we need is one, but as you enter the healing environment like this, and as the layers come off, there's different healing we didn't even know we needed. We didn't know we needed. When I first went on this journey to help my dad, I thought he needed the healing. I didn't know how much I needed, but in the process, I saw so many things, and it's a process. It's a continual process that even in this last 30 days of silence, I had such a profound experience that I'm going to share with you now. And before we get distracted by so many other things that come. So most of you know about this miracle dog that showed up in my life. So in February, when Dr. Naram passed away, it was so difficult. It was like one of the most challenging heartache situations of my life. This person who I'd been so close with for 10 years, who totally turned my world inside out. Subtitle of my book is A Western Skeptic, because a Western skeptic, an Eastern master, and life's greatest secrets, because I was so skeptical, and I didn't realize that a lot of the skepticism, I think skepticism is healthy. I like how even Mike on this call, he says we should have a challenge, which is called bring your skeptic, bring your skeptic, bring your best skeptic, and see what happens when you apply this. See how that melts away into the reality of the powerful effectiveness of these principles, So skepticism is not bad, it's healthy. But for me, a lot of my skepticism came from my own wounding, from parts of me that I was trying to keep safe, parts of me that I didn't want to be hurt or disappointed or let down or tricked or deceived in some way, and so the journey with Dr. Naram was unveiling a lot of beliefs in me that of a feeling of unsafe, of feeling like it's not safe to be me, like I have to like I have to do something to earn respect, to earn love, to prove that I'm worthwhile. A lot of those beliefs were tied into me, and otherwise, why was I driven at such a young age to become a PhD and travel in like 1 year, 40 different countries in 1 year, get so many awards, but I wasn't happy and I didn't even know who I was, And so thankfully, when Dr. Ram, when I finally saw the miracle happen in my dad's life, where my dad went from 12 medications to one in 6 months, and I went to Dr. Ram and I says, I want to help you, please. I want to be of service. I want people to know this is an option. They may not choose it, but at least they should know this is a choice. And that moment I shared my TEDx talk in the book where he laughs. You know, he just laughs. I was like, why are you laughing? And I started to feel like self-conscious, you know. He's like, well, I need help. Yeah, I can't see more people per day, but I don't want help from you. I was like, so shocked. You know, I felt like, why? And he says, well, because I know you now and your mind is way too crowded. I just want to see who can relate to that feeling of having your mind way too crowded sometimes, where so much has happened. I've just put it on the gallery view. Raise your hand one more time. Everyone who can relate to that feeling, your mind way too crowded. Yeah. So he said to me, he said, you know, and then I said, what can I do? He says, well, if you really want to help me, then even if I tell you the secrets, even if I tell you what they are, you're not going to understand them. You're just going to try and figure them out with your mind, but you're not going to get them with your heart. He says, so I says, what do I do? And he had me go for silence. And the first time I went was for 7 to 10 days of silence, 7 days, and then 10 days of silence. And every year since then, oh man, that has changed my whole existence. At first I was so tense. The first couple of 2-3 days, actually, let me see. I just want to see a raise of hand. Who's been to like 7 days or more of silence before? Yolanda, Barbara, Gary. Oh, super. I sent Gary. Oh my goodness. This is like, this is so cool. I'm so excited that I get to share this with you. It's like when you have a really delicious food or like your favorite movie and your best friend hasn't seen it yet, you know? And like you get that anticipation of, wow, I get to share this with you. I can't believe it. And you have a sense that they're going to love it. Nothing has been more life-changing for me than the silence, which is crazy. Because usually we're used to going to seminars and reading books and doing self-help stuff. And, you know, we go to church and we read scriptures and we go to psychiatrists and psychologists and we go to school and we get degrees and we hope we figure something out, you know? But it's crazy. The irony is that in the silence, there's so much mystery and magic that unfolds. But one of the first things that happens is you confront yourself, you know, which is very difficult for most of us because we spend our lives trying to run away from that. You know, as soon as we start to feel some uncomfort, some discomfort, something pops up, we seek a distraction, you know, we eat some comfort food or we go watch some movie, you know, or we have a conversation with a friend or we go to exercise, run, we do something to squash that, you know, that discomfort. But actually, in my first 3 days of silence, I was about to run away from that experience, you know? I was like, this is a waste of my time. My body was hurting. My mind was racing. I was thinking, oh, I could do so many more productive things. I went there with super high expectations and I was let down from the first day, you know? I started to get annoyed at everybody. I was getting pissed off, you know, at the person who was like trying to give me directions. It seemed so strict and so unnecessary. And it was funny because even as we walked in, there was some rule, and I can't remember my response, but it was like a little bit snippy. And he said to me, "Oh, it looks like you're really stressed right now." And I was like, "Oh, you know, if I swore, I didn't swear, but if I swore, I would have swore at that moment because I'm like pissed off that he's like saying I'm stressed, you know." I don't know. And then as I went in the room and I sat in the silence, you can't meditate in a state like that. You can't just be like all peaceful. I'm just thinking about, why am I here? You know, I'm getting all anxious and angry and like, and then what happened was I saw how tight everything was inside of me. At about the third day, my back was hurting, my mind was upset, and I'm just like, I'm gonna leave. And I was, no, I should stay. I'm gonna leave. My mind wasn't steady. You know, it was flipping back and forth. Finally, I made the commitment. You know, in the book, Dr. Ram says, whatever you do, give 100%. Finally, I made the commitment to myself. Okay, only if I physically die am I leaving this place. Only if I physically die. Otherwise, I'm here for 7 days, even if it's the biggest waste of my time. Otherwise, I'm just here, you know? And when I finally settled into that commitment, I went to sleep and the next morning I woke up and all the pain was gone, you know, in my body. I was like, whoa. Yeah. I was like, something's happening, you know? And then in that state of awe that my pain was gone, I just settled into myself for the first time. And it's like there's a pool of water all the time where we're disrupting the water. Finally, it was still enough. I could see through the surface. I was like, whoa, I had no idea how much was below the surface of my my mind and my heart, my body, you know, every day got exponentially better and better and better. Till about seventh day, it was like I was looking at the pool of water, this pool of life, you know, and it's like I started to get confused again. And have you seen those magic 3D eye puzzles where you defocus, refocus, you know, where it pops out 3D? So it's like I had to defocus. So, and that's with problems, sometimes what we have to do. We're so focused on them, we only see certain details, but you almost have to defocus for a while. Dr. Ram says when you can't figure something out, don't figure it out. He says, relax. He says, go back and look with your inner eyes. You know, it's almost like taking a step back and looking with your inner eyes. And so I did that in that moment. And then all of a sudden it was like, I saw this image in the water start to form. And I was like, who is that? You know, and then all of a sudden I look and I'm like, holy smokes, that's me. I didn't know, you know, first time in my life, you know, I was in my 30s and I had traveled so many places and done so many things, but I didn't even know who I was. And in the silence, I discovered, you know, there's a scripture that says, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I'm God. And I thought before it was like God saying, you know, be still down there with all the problems. No problem. I got you covered. I'm God, you know. But now I think it's a mathematical, predictable equation. If you be still, you are going to know the divine in you and around you in a different way. And I felt that, you know. And so every year as I go back to silence, I still, the first couple of days, I'm like, I remember I liked this last time. Why am I here again? You know, it's a little bit of like getting used to it. And then I always wanted to do 30 days of silence, and I never did. And so finally in the month of August, when I just made that commitment to do it, I had no idea what a journey I was going to be on, you know? Yeah, it's like, there's layers to all of us, you know, and there's things in which we can discover more of the reality of the divine that's in us, you know, and things that the real you is love. It's divine love, you know, that is who you are. But there's so many barriers we've created to it, so much programming, so many false beliefs, and a lot of times they're hidden, you know, we can't see them. It's just like they operate our lives and we don't even know. And so as I was preparing for the silence, I just want to share one of those experiences with you. And then I want to open it up for some people to share anything that, any insight or any wisdom that comes to you as you hear this story. Because really, this is a story about me, but I'm sharing it because I think it can bless you. And I think that as you listen to this story, something could come into place in your life. And so I want you to be open and aware to whatever inspiration comes to you as you hear this story about me and Miracle Milo. Okay, so on the day that Dr. Ram left the body was one of the toughest days of my life. You know, felt like shock and awe, so much numbness. Just seemed surreal. It seemed like this cannot be happening. You know, days before, we were in his office where in his journal, he had written out 27 of the biggest problems the world was going to face. You know, every day he was talking to people on the phone who'd call him for help. In clinics, 100 to 300 to 500 people a day. All the time he's talking to people. So he was actually a better news source than the news. He would know of world problems before they showed up in the newspaper or on TV or on the internet, because he knew, talking to people in Saudi Arabia. He knows when there's an oil crisis. He's talking to people in Australia or New Zealand. He knows when, you know, there's something happened. He's talking to people in Africa. He knew about Ebola before the world knew about Ebola. You know, he had a real sense of what's happening, both in terms of financial things happening in the world, you know, natural disaster, so many things. And so one of his secrets actually was he kept a journal that he called a problem journal. He had on the front problems, but according to him, every problem has within it the seeds of equal or greater benefit. You know, that's one of the greatest secrets that he shared was whatever is your problem, your heartache, your challenge has within it seeds of equal or greater benefit. And he believed that so much that he would listen to people. And as soon as they started talking about a problem, he's like, oh, tell me more, you know, and he'd start to write down his notes. Again, one of the secrets that he shares, you know, with me that I put in the book is he says the greatest need in the last 6,000 years of human history isn't love, but it's understanding. And people flew from all over the world to spend 3 to 5 minutes with him because that was where they felt deeply understood. You know, like my dad had 4 doctors, highly trained, highly qualified, But in the first, 5, 6 minutes with Dr. Ram, he felt like he was understood in a way those four doctors never did. Even if they were with him in the same room talking about his case, he felt so deeply understood. So this is one of the secrets that I'm just sharing with you is if you actually do this experiment and you keep a journal with you this week, this month, and every time you notice a problem in your life, a problem, quote unquote, or you hear someone talking about their problem, get curious, get really curious. If it's your own problem, you can start asking yourself more questions like, what is that problem? And you start to write it down. Just start to be really curious. If it's someone else shares a problem, and I was going to do this, maybe we'll still have time later today where we're in a breakout group and you just listen. You practice understanding without creating a solution, without making them feel better, without piling more onto it and saying, oh, poor you. You don't want to do that. You just want to say, tell me more. I want to understand you. I really want to understand you. After being with Dr. Ram, I started going to people I love and saying, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd start asking my best friends or my partners or my family. I'd say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do I understand you? How well do you feel like I understand you? I just wanted to know, according to them, how well did I understand them? And I was surprised how little I understood people, And then I would say to them, I'd say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you feel like you understand me? I just wanted to know. And I realized I was not sharing myself with hardly anybody, so many layers. I would be really friendly and I'd listen and I'd ask questions, but I would very rarely share what was in my heart. So I felt like people didn't understand me. Even if people said they loved me, I'd say, well, if they really knew me, they wouldn't love me, because I wasn't even giving them a chance. I wasn't sharing myself, So I've already shared some really powerful secrets from Dr. Ram, but how can you get excited about when you hear a problem? According to Dr. Ram, one of his key fundamental beliefs was there is no problem that exists on this planet without a solution. There is nothing, no problem, no challenge that you're going to face that doesn't have a solution. So with this belief, with this understanding, this ancient understanding that his master taught him, he could be excited about problems. And he said, the bigger the problem, the more happy that they're going to be when I find a solution, the more grateful that they're going to be when I find a solution. Lynn puts a quote in here, you will learn by reading, but you will understand with love. From Rumi, so beautiful, Lynn. So what is it? What is it in Dr. Naram that he could get excited when he saw a problem? And we're going to come to that in a little bit. But in my silence, we're going to come back to my silence. So when Dr. Naram passed away, and I was feeling so distraught, like here was the solution provider for every single problem. He had every problem solved. People could call with the biggest challenge of their life, and he was calm and peaceful and excited. If he didn't have a solution then, he was confident he could find it. Like he had that fixed determination and faith in himself and in the ancient secrets that he felt like, yeah, whatever is the problem that someone faces, I can find that solution, So what is it like when someone that is like that kind of an anchor, all of a sudden the physical form of them is gone, it felt like, yeah, it was like, it was definitely one of the most challenging moments of my life, that kind of disorientation, that kind of like feeling like, yeah, like, what do I do now? How do I face life? Already I was getting ready to publish this book, and then all of a sudden the person I wrote it about is no longer here. And at first I wasn't going to publish the book. I was like, I don't even know what to do with my life anymore. And then actually Jack Canfield, who authored Chicken Soup for the Soul, he's the one that was there during that month. And he's the one that looked me in the eyes and he said, listen, Clint, the world doesn't need your silence right now. It needs your voice, and it needs this book. We need this book right now more than ever, because it has within it, it's like the best gift that could have happened at the most divine time. And you need to publish this now. And so I did. The time in which I was feeling the most depressed was when this miracle dog showed up, Milo. And most of you know that story, so I'm not going to share it again, but I just want to remind you of the principle that it triggered in me that Dr. Ram taught, which is Aditi Devo Bhava, treating the unexpected guest as if God himself or herself has come to visit you. Now, when Milo showed up, was in such an unexpected, mystical way on the darkest day of my life. It changed so much of how I thought about life. You know, the fact in which, in my deepest, darkest moment, just walking the streets of Mumbai, this dog started to follow me and then just, wouldn't sleep unless he was sleeping next to my bed with my hand on his head. It's like, it seemed like he needed me, but in a way, he was healing me, healing my heart, bringing me out of that depression and bringing me into a magical space. Through meeting Milo is actually where all of the miracle experiment games started. It's because of that experience that I posted that first video and invited that first group, and over 200, 300 people joined. That then became the global healing miracle experiment, where thousands of people joined. So finally, after there was a little bit of time where I could take space, I says, I'm going to go for my 30 days of silence, and Milo joined me. Now, on the first days, I knew that I had to leave after 30 days. I had to come back to the US. I only had a visa of 180 days, and it would lead me up to 178 days. So I'm thinking, I don't want to leave Milo behind. I'm going to take him with me, So I knew I had to measure him for a crate. So I took out my measuring tape and I measured him this way, but he started to growl. I'm like, why is he growling? And as I'm trying to measure him, he's running around the house, going all different places, not letting me measure him. I'm like, this is so frustrating, Milo. Just let me measure you. I need to measure you so you can come with me to the US, And he's just growling. Finally, I measure him, but you could see he's not happy about it. He's sitting there all grumpy as I'm like getting his dimensions. And then I knew I also had to weigh him. So this was like on my second day of silence. And as I went to weigh him, I don't have like a scale for dogs. So I just had to weigh him like by picking him up. And as I went to pick him up, all of a sudden, this miracle dog became so ferocious, and he bit my hand so hard, like 5, 6 times, like chomping down in such a way that was so painful, I had to drop him. And you can see here, it made dents in my hand, and like it felt like some sprain. It hurt so bad, and one of them started to bleed. I was so startled, so scared, so upset, and I hit him on the nose, and I said, no. I grabbed him by the leash and I threw him out on the balcony. And I was so startled, like so scared. And I was like, this is so unexpected, My heart was racing. I was angry, and I opened up the door again and I hit him on the nose again. I said, no, Milo. I shut the door. He had a little mattress out with a blanket, and I rolled it up. I'm like, this is too unpredictable. I took in this street dog, and now he's dangerous. And whenever he's in my house, he's going to have to stay on the balcony or in the bathroom, That was just what I decided, just to keep myself safe, keep myself protected. So what I did is every day when he needed to pee, I just bring him outside and I bring him in. But over the next 2 days, he got more unpredictable, more ferocious, more scary. And I remember on the second day after that, the fourth day of my silence, as I was trying to put him on the balcony, he was getting away from me, jumping up and trying to bite me. I had to actually pull the mattress out and push him out on the balcony and then shut the door. And my heart was racing. And then all of a sudden the monsoon rain started, and it started raining down on him. I went to try and meditate, and I'm like, this is the worst silence ever. I hate this. This sucks. My miracle dog is trying to bite me, and now he's getting rained on. I can't even focus. I was feeling so horrible. I couldn't feel peaceful. And I was feeling so upset and so anxious, and in the midst of that, like, I could have convinced anyone at that moment that I was doing the right thing by letting Milo go back on the streets, like I could convince anyone. I let him in and I gave him a chance, but he's unpredictable. He's dangerous. I can't control that. I don't know what to do. And I really could have made my case to anyone and convinced them that I was protecting myself and I did the best that I could, But I didn't feel satisfied with that. I'm sitting in the silence thinking, this is a horrible ending to that story. I don't like this at all. This is the worst. And I couldn't focus. And then all of a sudden, as I'm trying to like drop in, I remember hearing once in A Course in Miracles, there's a phrase I'd never understood before. And it's this, it says, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. And previously, I always thought that's messed up. What do you mean in my defenselessness? No, it's not like there's an enemy and you go out like without any protection and then all of a sudden you're safe. It didn't make any sense to me. But I just sat there thinking about, what does that mean? In my defenselessness is where my safety lies. What does that mean? And then I said, well, what about with Milo? What if I do another experiment? And I said, okay, what if I'm totally defenseless with Milo? What's going to happen? Worst case is he bites me again. But I thought, let's do that experiment. It kind of gave me some hope that I can try something new. So what I did is I just put the mattress out, put the blanket back over it, opened the door. He came in from outside where he was getting all rained on. And he just kind of looked at me. And then he sat on the mattress and he plopped down with his like paws like this. And he's just looking up at me. And I just sat on a chair in front of him. I just started speaking to him. I was like, Milo, that hurt. That really hurt me and scared me. And I don't know what to say, but that really hurt me. And he's just looking up at me. And then all of a sudden I started talking more and I started speaking stuff I wasn't expecting to share. I was like, actually, also, Milo, I need to apologize to you. I didn't listen to you, and I didn't realize until I started speaking, as I was measuring him, he's growling me. He's telling me he's not happy, you know, but I was doing what I wanted to do. I wanted to measure him for my own, because I didn't want to leave him. It was something that I wanted, and then I'm violating his space by picking him up, and he's doing the only thing he can do to protect himself or communicate, and I was like, wow. And as I started to apologize to him, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I started getting emotional. And he's like looking over and then looking back at me, just plopped there. And I was like, wow, Milo's innocent, and I'm innocent. Wow. And I just went back into my meditation, and he just came and sat right by my door as I was doing my meditation. And I just like kind of dropped into that space of just feeling like, wow, I didn't realize that I wasn't a victim in that circumstance. I just didn't listen, you know? And so then over the next 2 days, Milo was like the best. Oh, actually, over the next whole 30 days, Milo was like the best, most magical dog. You can't train a dog to be like as amazing as he was. In fact, there was one day we're walking and this little boy just wanted to touch him. And you can see like Milo's tenderness in these photos. All of a sudden, the little boy reached out to grab him and was even kind of a little bit rough, but Milo was just so sweet with him, just like being playful with him and just loving him. I'll just show you one more picture because it's just so sweet. So I started to think, wow, after it took a couple of days of having Milo be so lovely for it to sink in. But after about 2 days, I was in my meditation and I'm like, wow, this 2 days, he was like been the best dog on planet Earth. I don't need he's like always waiting outside my room when I'm meditating. He's thinking of my needs, I don't need a leash when I take him out. I was like, this is crazy. The 2 days before, he was like the most unpredictable, scary dog. I was like, he didn't change, these 2 days, he didn't change. He's the same dog. I was like, what changed? And I realized that I changed, you know? And in that moment of seeing like this lived experience where I was scared that something was unpredictable, something was dangerous. And then I realized, no, actually, Milo is innocent. It was something inside of me. It was something inside of me that was unpredictable, something inside of me that I hadn't addressed. And, Dr. Ram there's a Sanskrit phrase that he'd say the outer world is a manifestation of the inner world. The outer world is a manifestation of the inner world. And as I sat in that silence, in that meditation, something crazy happened. I started to have more uncomfortable feelings come of different times in my life. I could teach don't be a victim. I could teach a whole seminar lecture about don't be a victim. And I thought I wasn't a victim, but I had memories come back of people in situations where I felt hurt. Either someone said something or someone did something. And although I thought I'd addressed it and forgiven them, in reality, I still felt it was unpredictable and unsafe, and my subconscious was always looking to protect myself from those situations in which someone could hurt me or something could be done that could hurt me. And as I went through, and in fact, one of those people was Marion G. I had some really difficult experiences with her. where I felt really hurt, and I'm sure she did as well. There was misunderstanding. And another one was where I felt physically unsafe. And as I was sitting in the awe of Milo, this experience with Milo, all of a sudden it was like spirit showed me that all these situations were exactly the same as Milo. You know, it was like a linchpin came out and it was like a domino effect. And I remembered, usually I just remembered the pain moment where I felt hurt. I could remember with each of those situations what happened before and what happened after. You know, with Milo before, I didn't listen. I was just wanting what I wanted, and I did what I wanted to do. And then there was a painful moment, and then I punished him, and then he reflected that punishment back to me. You know, I was like, well, the same thing has been happening throughout my entire life. I was like, wow, they're innocent. Marion G's innocent. You know, these other people are innocent, and I'm innocent. You know, I didn't know any better. And all of a sudden it wiped away like this weight that I'd been carrying, this subconscious like burden of always trying to pay attention to protect myself from things that were unpredictable, you know, times where I didn't know if I could be hurt. And in my defenselessness, I realized that's where my safety lied. And it showed me whole. It was like all of a sudden, like I just laughed with joy. I felt so free. I was like, wow, they're innocent. I couldn't believe it. You know, I couldn't believe that in my experience that also that I was innocent. You know, it was like a crazy, powerful, amazing transformation in which like the rest of the silence had such a profound, I had like a way to reframe my entire past, you know? Now, many of you may be listening and thinking about times in your life where something's hurt you or some pain. And it's like, I can't see that person as innocent. I can't see that moment as innocent, or you may still be struggling with something that's there. Well, according to Dr. And even this beautiful conversation we had with Janet Atwood, Aditi Devo Bhava, you know, your greatest pain, your greatest challenge, your greatest difficulty can become your greatest blessing. Now, how does that happen and how does that unfold? Before we go to this, and I'm going to just share a couple of particular secrets from Dr. Naram, I just want to open it up for anybody to share what's your takeaway, like personally, as I share that story about Milo. You know, wow, what a miracle to have an embodied experience. Like he was a miracle dog reflecting to me myself. You know, what a magic. And one of my friends says it's no accident, it's no incident that dog and God are spelled the same, just backwards, you know. And then in that amazing moment, just to see that divine reflection of a healing that I didn't even know I needed to have, you know, was such a gift. But for you, what's a takeaway for you from listening to this experience? So Meg says, incredible story. I experienced something similar when I examined where I could be responsible during certain situations in my life. It was always for the same reason, fear. Beautiful. Randy, a journey of discovery. Yeah, so true. Kaisa says, and you had that healing because you decided to look deeper and within, and you took responsibility. Yeah, that's beautiful. Barbara, the outer world is a mirror of my inner world. Wow. This is a powerful concept that if you just take that in, everybody, it's worth this entire hour and our entire experience together, you know? Because the outer world is gonna finally give you the gift of what you need, whether you like it or not. And sometimes it's not gonna feel comfortable. You know, Gary Malkin is one of my greatest allies, in a true friend, in which he allows me to see enough into his life that I see all the miracles and all the mess, you know. and then you see the unfolding after 10, 12 years of being together. You see, wow, that thing that was so painful then, that's been like the greatest gift, you know. It triggered a series of events that ended up with a healing. In A Course in Miracles, it says you most of us were so clueless, we can't even identify our advances from our retreats. We don't even know which is a good thing in our life and which is a bad thing in our life. Like in the context of the world right now, is it a good thing that the virus happened and seems like all the world stopped, or is it a bad thing, you know? And the amazing thing is that certain things in which it feels like your life is falling apart is actually the biggest gift. Why? Because that wasn't the life you were meant to live. You know, that wasn't why you were sent here, was to have that job or that relationship and be stuck in your conception of who you think you are, which isn't even accurate. You know, who you are is so much more, and what's possible in your life is so much more. And so the untangling or the dismantling of your beliefs is it's such an interesting process. But what a gift to have those pains, those problems, those challenges that push us to a different part of who we can be. Richard says, silence exposes our truth of who we really are. Ah, so true. Vimal says, now where is Milo? I'm very anxious to see this miraculous soul. So this is another thing, you know, when you have a miracle arrive in your life, sometimes you want to hang on to it. I wanted to keep Milo with me forever. But in the silence, I realized I need to surrender, and the miracle is happening at every moment. And maybe it's not for me to have Milo with me. And actually, since Milo has gotten to be with Krishna, miracles have happened in Krishna's life, you know, and Milo's life. So why would I be so selfish to hang on to something thinking that it has to be me, you know? Like, why not be more open to all the miracles that want to happen, you know, and allow everyone their own path, including this miracle dog. I never said he was my dog. I just felt so much joy that I wanted to keep him with me forever. But at a certain point, maybe like Pete's dragon, you know, that miracle wants to go bless someone else. Maybe you're strong enough that there's a moment in which that miracle can transition. And I felt that way. Esther says, I have some deep healing to take place. I can't even get below the surface of the hurt. Thank you. Oh, so beautiful. Anne says, my greatest teacher would get so mad when I would get defensive. I never understood what was so bad about being defensive. And now I know more from your teaching. Thank you. BN says, sometimes we forget to recognize the Diti in front of us. Oh, it's so easy. You know, another way to say Aditi Devo Bhava is life is happening for you, not to you. First time I heard that was from Gary, actually. So many of my favorite phrases, first time I heard was from Gary. You know, you're not a human doing, you're a human being. And what ultimately I think the divine wants you to see is that your being is so much more than who you think it is. Your being is love, you know? So it wants to remove any of the obstacles to who you naturally, spontaneously are. You know?
You told me I could break in anytime, sometime.
You bet, Dick. Please come share.
I was in a music group and they were going to play a Civil War song, the Battle Cry of Freedom. And I said, I can't sing that song. The words are just terrible. And he said, well, write new words. So here's the chorus. Hate is not our helper. Fear is not our friend. Judging one another will never bring an end to the pain of our past or the dreams we strive to reach. Forgiveness is the only path to freedom. That's it.
Can you do it one more time, Dick? That was worth a repeat.
Oh, thank you, Gary. I think I'll go just a tad higher. Hate is not our helper. Fear is not our friend. Judging one another will never bring an end to the pain of our past or the dreams we strive to reach. Forgiveness is the only path to freedom.
Dick, I was wondering if you would do me a favor and send me a recording on my iPhone of that so I can share it with other people around the world, and I'll attribute it to you. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Gary. I'll do my best.
I'll send you my phone number privately.
Beautiful. Arlene says chills. Meg says goosebumps, Dick. Andrea says very nice. Aparna, Dick, we need the record. We all need the recording. Bravo, says Mary. Oh, beautiful. So beautiful. Lynn says, makes me breathe better. Forgiveness is the only path to freedom. Ah, thank you. I breathe better. Grateful, Gramps. Krishtov, there's always a purpose. There's nothing like random in this universe. And Manisha, this calls are just getting better and better. Fantastic. I just want to go to one thing that Louisa says here. As far as, well, first of all, Arlene says, selfishness brings suffering. It's been getting this a lot. When we want to have things to be the way we want, then we suffer, Going back to Louisa, Louisa says that this is what she learns. Other people are mirrors of ourselves. We can only see things in others that we see within ourselves. Wow, so profound, huh? So
Hey, Clint,
beautiful.
can I share something also?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to bring attention to the fact that everybody that I don't want to make you blush, Clint, but what you model in the way you're being today and the way you are in your life is that thing I love about what Brene Brown talks about is vulnerability is the birthplace of our authenticity and our innocence, right? And what you model so beautifully, Clint, is that you share so honestly and transparently your humanness in a way that reminds us that we're all bozos on this bus. We all have wounds and we all have graces. And the fact that you show us with dignity what a beautiful thing it is to be human, to be vulnerable, to have tears and to have sorrow and to have pain and to have joys and triumph. So just thank you for your story and your willingness to be so transparent. The courage that you have is such a beautiful modeling. And I just want to thank you for that, Clint. I love you, man.
Oh, beautiful, Gary. Thank you for being an example in my life of someone who, I think one of the reasons why I was attracted to you, Gary, was you did that, and I wanted to do it and I didn't know how. I was so scared. So many layers of masks and things to protect what I thought needed to be protected. Let's open it up. I want to see anyone have something that they want to share in this moment, something in your heart that you feel like could benefit everybody. Carol, go ahead. And then Linda after that.
Wow, it's the timing of it's pretty perfect. I have a big dog, 85 pounds, Catahoula Red Heeler mix named Osi. And when he was 9 months old, he tore into me and bit me pretty badly. And turned out he had a kidney infection and he thought I was hurting him. And the vet said, you should put him down. He's too aggressive. I won't treat him anymore after this kidney infection. And I don't know any vets who would. So your best bet is to put him down. And I couldn't do that. He's super smart. This dog is brilliant. He can do 1,000 tricks. He's so smart, but he has a fear issue. So he's only bit me one other time. We had a really bad storm, like 80-mile-an-hour winds. My barn doors blew off and he got out, which he almost never does. And it was raining and thundering and lightning. He was frightened. And when I was coming from my house where my daughter is towards him, I grabbed his collar because he jumped up on me and he's big, right? And when I did that, he bit the bejeebers out of me again. And I, kind of yelled at him and told him, you sit, and finally got him to control himself. And I was shaking all over, walking him back to the barn and got him inside. And I came in the house and cried for hours because I put so much effort, so much timing into him, and I love him so much. But he has fear that just makes him crazy sometimes. And I even called somebody about rehoming him because I thought you should not live in fear of your own dog, And I sleep in the room with him every night. He's my partner over there. And so we got through that. I've put more time into him, more effort into him, and now he has a bad dew claw. And last week it started bleeding. So I got my son to help me take him to the vet. They couldn't muzzle him. They couldn't put a cone on him. Tried to bite people and they just sent us home. And so now I'm faced with having to cut that dew claw, and it's going to hurt because it's really badly infected. And I bought some anti-bite gloves and I bought a muzzle to try. And I've been every day touching his paws and loving on him and giving him treats. And so I needed to hear this because I've got to do that. I have to treat my dog. And my heart has been so sorrowful that, I'm so afraid that he's going to hurt me. But listening to your story, I think I can get through this, and it's gonna hurt now. I might get bit, but it's something that I have to do because I love him, and I will forgive him if he bites me again. Besides, he saved me from rattlesnakes twice, so we're kind of even.
Well, Carol, I have so much to say about that, but first of all, I want to go to Linda. But before going to Linda, I want to go to Kathy. Kathy, just for Carol's benefit, can you hold up that special thing that you hold up sometimes? I just wanted this little moment of like, this is how we feel when you're sharing, Carol. We all feel like this. We love you so much. Oh, so beautiful. Thank you, Kathy. All right, we're gonna come back to Carol, what you shared, because you're in a moment where you gave us such a gift. I'm gonna share some specific, really practical secrets Dr. Ram shared, that if you do these simple stuff with whatever's the problem, the challenge you're facing, you have a really, really beautiful opportunity to transition it into one of your biggest blessings. Before that, I want to go to Linda. Linda, can you unmute yourself? Just any of your takeaway or thoughts from today so far?
Well, everything's perfect timing wise, as usual. And actually, just this morning when I awakened, I had the thought of a dog that our family dog. His birthday was actually the day before mine, and had him since he was a puppy. And he was a golden retriever and just so loyal. And this is a dog that would never go out of the yard. You could just have him out there on the front and he would not leave. He was just always there and like a protector for the kids. And one day he actually snapped at me and he had started running away from, leaving, but he would come back. And so it was like this whole character change. But I did know that part of it was related to some changes that had happened in my life at that time. But when he snapped at me, it was like, okay, this is not something I can tolerate. And my oldest son, this was his baby. It was his favorite everything. And I felt so bad, but I did get rid of him after 7 years and of him and being so loyal. And when that thought came back to mind and I'm wondering what was that all about? And then when you shared this story, it was like, oh, okay, there was so much going on and so much for me to learn in that moment, but it's not too late. And I'm still able to learn even right now. And he has another dog that he named Love. And she is, like Carol said, full of fear. She's scared of other dogs. She's scared of people. And she's an older dog. But whenever I just rub my hands together and lay them on her, she just flips and allow me to touch her. And she absolutely loves it. And even yesterday, she jumped as if there was something hurting. So that's something that I will continue to investigate to see what's going on. But I just love the ideal of it's not a coincidence that today you finally got to share about your 30 days in silence, and it was something that was brought to my memory. So thank you.
Oh, so beautiful, Linda. Sorry, I was muted there. Thank you, Linda. There's a saying, hurt people, you know, and lots of times when someone's acting out, my brother actually, he told me this. He says, all the time, people and animals, they're only doing one of two things. They're either giving expressions of love in their words or their actions, or they're making a request for love. There's only those two things that anyone ever does, ever. So whenever anyone's interacting with you, they're doing one of those two things. They're either making an expression of love or they're making a request for love. Beautiful. I'm going to just read this quote from Gary. Dogs are linked to paradise. They don't know evil or jealousy or discontent. To sit with a dog on a hillside on a glorious afternoon is to be back in Eden, where doing nothing was boring. It was peace. It wasn't boring, it was peace. Okay, beautiful. Dr. Naram, he said that the two greatest obstacles for us to see others and ourselves clearly are what? Anyone remember that from the book? What are the two greatest obstacles, he said, from seeing any situation, any person clearly, or even seeing ourselves clearly?
Go in fear.
Fantastic. Up on our, you got it right away too. Also, Yolanda says, thank you for sharing your story, Linda. Beautiful. Kathy says, rubbing hands together. You're energizing her, Linda. Thank you for sharing. So fear and ego, how does that hold us back from seeing ourselves? Dr. Joe Dispenza says, if you're in the experience of fear, you're only going to have a limited amount of solutions you can see. When you're in ego as well, this is the way I want it, or this is my boundary, or you take things personally, it's going to shut down you from seeing other people or the situation clearly. There's so many beautiful examples of, people that riding on the train and have judgment against, like even in the beginning of 7 Habits, Stephen Covey says he's on a train. There's this woman who's not taking care of her kids. They're annoying everyone, bouncing off, and he's feeling so annoyed. And he's almost going to talk to her, can't you control your kids? And then when all of a sudden, when he goes over to her, she says, I'm so sorry. We just came from discovering that my husband has passed away and my kids don't know how to handle it. In a moment, this judgment he had turned into compassion, and he was in a different space. He calls it a paradigm shift. But when we can be in a different state, when we can get out of fear or get out of ego, it gives us a different set of solutions by which then we can most likely make choices that will lead us to a healthier solution for ourselves and for others. So how do you do that? How do you do that? So both Carol and Linda and other people, you have your own, I just want you to think right now, what is one of the biggest challenges or problems you're facing in your life right now? What is it? And go ahead and just, if you have a notebook, write it down. Or if you're thinking of it, just think about, what is that challenge? What is that challenge? What's that challenge? What's that problem? What's that heartache? What's that thing that's hard to let go of? And you can just write it down. I encourage you to be vulnerable right now and have some courage to really, really identify what that is and write it down. Okay, now Dr. Naram, he says that the quality of our life depends on the quality of our questions. Okay, so now if some people could just be vulnerable, you don't have to share what the problem is or what the challenge is. But when the problem comes into your awareness, the struggle comes into your awareness, what are your first honest thoughts? What are your first honest thoughts? Sometimes the problem may have to do with someone else or something. Maybe it's a problem within something inside of you. But what are your thoughts about that? I'm just giving an example. My thoughts is sometimes I'm like, why am I so stupid? Or what's my problem? Or how come I can't deal with this? Or like all of a sudden I have thoughts coming like this. Manisha, I am helpless. Jaina, why is this happening to me? Jaina, that's a perfect example. And also, what is wrong with me? Louisa, Arlene, I don't know. So let's take those examples. Your brain is a machine. It's just going to come up with this answer to whatever question you ask it, And so if you're asking yourself the question, what's wrong with me? According to Dr. Ram, he's going to come up with an answer. Your brain's going to come up with an answer. He gives an example where if you say, why am I fat? His master would say, that's a stupid question. You're fat because you're lazy, whatever. He says, no, it's not a good question to ask. A better question to ask is, how can I be vibrantly healthy for as long as I live, or something like that. So also, Carol, the question is, why do some people have to suffer so physically so much for so long? Esther says, what did I do to get this in life? Aparna, why is this happening? When I did everything correctly. I did everything correctly with Milo. Why is he biting me? Why am I deserving this? It's like a certain level of so many questions you could be asking yourself where you're going to get a certain degree of answers. Beautiful. So now, according to Dr. Naram, the quality of your questions, the quality of your life determines the quality of your questions. So what is an alternative question you could ask that would, instead of closing you down, open you up to more about who you are and more about why this is in your life? So again, Keta, this is one of the other ones, why I have no luck. But what is a different question that you could ask? What's a different question you could ask of that problem, of that challenge of yourself in this moment? How can I get through this? This is one. How can I accept this is one. Let's see here. So many good ones. Richard, what are the meaning-making? Oh, we are meaning-making machines. We just need to be and see. Beautiful. Janana says, what can I do while I wait for good things to come to me? Okay. Savan says, let's see. Questions I could ask is what tools could aid me through this? Manisha, what else can I do? Linda, how can I experience even more love and joy today? Beautiful. Esther, what gifts have the challenges presented to me and continue to show me? What gifts have these challenges presented to me and continue to show me? Oh, beautiful. Okay, good. What about this? Anne says, what about this reminds me of something I can see inside of me? One of my friends says the other person is irrelevant. Like it looks like they're doing something to you, but they're irrelevant. Most important is what's happening inside of you and what it teaches you about yourself. Padmalaya, what am I meant to learn or practice within myself from this? Cornelia, what can I think or perceive differently? Rochelle, where is the grace in this? Wow. Garland, how can I raise my consciousness? Wow, you guys are beautiful. So many of these. And you can see there's different qualities. It started off where still the question was still, we're still stuck a little bit as a victim, you know, but a lot of these questions like, what can I learn from this experience? And Renara, is this my Aditi Devo Bhava? And what is this, what is it saying to me? Beautiful. So a simple one that I remember sometimes I've heard in the context of being with Dr. Ram said is, he says, what is the gift in this? You know, what is the perfection in this moment? What is the gift in this? How come Aditi Devo Bhava? Why, what is the gift in this for me? You know, what is the gift? That's a really powerful one. And you start to get curious about it. So now he would always, Dr. Ram would journal everything. So let's say, for instance, you write down, what is the problem? And then you say, what is the gift in this? There's some additional questions you can ask. You can say something like, okay, so what is it that doesn't feel good? Also, it's not bypassing it, but you can identify, you can start to get curious and playful about what is it that doesn't feel perfect yet? You know, what is it I'm not seeing about this moment or about myself? And then another question you could ask is also, you know, actually, let me read some of these out. Like Richard says, what else do I need to see? What is it I'm not seeing? Meg says, what's blocking me from achieving what I say or claim what's important to me? One of the things that I think Dr. Ram did so well was seeing the divine. You know, he would always treat everyone as if there is God or goddess inside of them. And he wanted to clean the temple so the God or goddess in them could be happy, you know? And so I think a lot of the times it's cleaning up our perception of ourselves. You know, so what is it about you that you can learn through this experience that will make you more clear about who you already are? Linda says, what am I feeling in this moment and where am I feeling it in my body? This is another great secret. Instead of making it an abstract thing, you can just identify, where is it inside of you? You know, physically, where do you feel it inside of you? And start to describe it, not according to the story, but is it thick? Is it, you know, what is that? What is the sensation inside of you? And then just be with the sensation. Kathy says, we're all divine if we care to see and feel it. Okay, so good. Now, as we're getting close, I want to have a time where we can break out, but I just want to review some of these simple secrets that is, we want to play this game and do this experiment this week. Next week, on the next week's Sunday's call, I want to hear from you exactly what happens as you play this game. So first of all, keep a problem journal. This is one of Dr. Ram's secrets. And if you notice a problem in your life, write it down and get curious about it. If you hear someone, you're talking with your family or friends, or you see something on the news or whatever it is, if you hear a problem, get curious about it, write it down, ask more questions about it, you know, find out the details. The bigger the problem, according to Dr. Ram, the more valuable is the solution when you're able to present it to yourself or to others. And if you have this problem, according to Dr. Ram, it's likely many other people have this problem. Maybe one of the gifts is that you, as you discover that solution for yourself, you're going to be able to help many other people. Here's what Dr. Ram would say. He'd say, what are the benefits? What are the benefits of this thing in my life? Then he would say this question. He said, what are the hidden benefits? What are the hidden benefits? And he'd also say this. He'd say, what are the side benefits? He had us do this many times where we get out paper. We have a blank paper. We have 5-10 minutes. We have to, first of all, say, what are the benefits? Write down as many as we could think of. Then what are the side benefits? And we have to write down as many as we can think of. Then he'd say, what are the hidden benefits? And we have to write down as many as we could think of. And it's amazing how each of those questions teases out different sides, different things of what then you can discover is hiding below the surface of whatever is this, this discovery that you're about to make. So number one, keep a problem journal. Second of all, you know, it's almost like retraining your mind that when a problem comes, you get excited about it, you know, like you get curious about it. You don't take it personally, but you get this excited that you're about to discover something new. There's a breakthrough, a new insight about to come to you. And then the third is remember Aditi Devo Bhava. Remember Aditi Devo Bhava. The unexpected guest, including this problem, is God himself or herself coming to you, that life is happening for you. You seek to understand. You know, Dr. emphasized that's the greatest need. And then the last thing I'll just share here is instead of being a consumer of life, a consumer of fear, a consumer of the experiences that are pushed at us from media or from friends that are talking to us or from whatever, you can become a creator. You can become a creator where, you know, if someone comes at you with their fear, their anger, you don't have to take it. Actually, you can come from a different space where you just try and understand them, but you don't take that on you. Dr. Ram says all the time people want to vomit. They just want to vomit. And don't catch the vomit and swallow it. Don't eat it inside of you. No, it's vomit, but help them vomit. Let them let that come out so more of their true self can be there, you know. But be a creator. Everyone comes with fear, being mad, sad, afraid, or glad. And when you see them in mad, sad, or afraid, you don't have to take that. You don't have to consume their fear, but you can actually help them by understanding them shift from that state into a state of gladness. Wow, so beautiful. Padmalaya says the autism program that she followed for her son calls for being a happy detective. I love that. It's so beautiful. Ah, beautiful. So now this is a whole bunch of stuff we shared, really powerful. If you just take one of them, can change your life. But I want to go now into a breakout, a short breakout where just for a few minutes, you have a chance to share with the partners in your breakout room. What's your biggest takeaway from today and which parts you're going to apply in the experiment in this upcoming week? So we're going to go into breakout rooms of just about 4 people, and then we'll come back and just complete all together. But we'll just go, let's see here. All right, so we're going to go into breakout rooms now. Again, you'll just have about 2 minutes to share your biggest takeaway from today and what experiment you want to play in the upcoming week. And then next week we'll come and we'll actually have a chance to share what happens in your life as a result of applying these ancient secrets. Okay, so go ahead and click on your screen. Actually, just 1 second. I think I did it a little bit wrong because I want to make it a little bit smaller groups. Okay. Okay, there we go. So go ahead and click on the link on your screen and we'll bring you back in just a moment. Again, you'll just ask yourself, what is your biggest takeaway from today? All right, so those who are still in this room, Michael, you can stay here. Vimal, I just want to hear if actually we'll go to first Mike and then Vimal and Alfred if he comes back on. What would you say is your takeaway from today?
Hey, Clint, just love the story of Milo, and one of the things that I really love about your relationship with him is his name, and that he came into your life at and I'd just been hearing stories of Milo along, but I didn't know the story of his name and the different spelling of Milo. And you met him at your low, and just what a gift that he's been to you and everyone on this call. That and the stories that are shared, and I just it's amazing.
Beautiful. Anything that you feel like applies directly to you in any of the problems or challenges that you're encountering?
I love the problem journal and being able to. I love that story that Dr. Naram was to want to find bigger problems. That the solutions are in the problems. I think that applies for problems and questions, and certainly, I don't think there's any shortage of problems that any of us have in life. But to write those down and to journal the solutions as they come is, I think, super powerful.
Beautiful. Thanks, Mike. So cool. All right, Vimal, what's your takeaway from today? You have anything you want to share? No. Yeah, okay, beautiful. Let's let Michelle, Michelle's coming in as well. I think for me, it's like I want to be more aware of the questions I'm asking myself, you know, like the self-talk when a problem comes. Like I want to be more aware of what is that question? Hey, Michelle. I don't know if you're able to hear us, Michelle, yet, or be able to join us, but oh, 1 second. All right, good. We want to hear what your takeaway is from today so far. Oh, you're muted right now. Let's see. Oh no, it says you're unmuted, but we can't hear you for some reason. We're still not able to hear you, Michelle. I wonder if you can put in the chat, maybe. I don't know. Oh yeah, still not able to hear you. We just see your beautiful self. Maybe you can put something in the chat, Michelle. Maybe something, some takeaway or something you've been learning. Okay. Mike, you know, because your experience, I don't know if you'd be comfortable to share with Vimal and Alfred and those who are watching on Facebook Live, but can you share about that miracle that happened this week or the miracle realization? It's so cool.
Yeah, it's, you know, sometimes we see what we want to see, or we, you know, I don't know, you know, just notice things in hindsight. In this year of 2020, with perfect hindsight of what things happen. But I was looking up Clint's book on Amazon and looked it up, and Amazon has a great way of notifying you of things you've purchased in the past, and it jumped out at me that I purchased the book on May 12th, which is the same day that my brother passed away, and I thought, wow. I thought, I wonder what time I bought this book, you know, in conjunction with my brother's death. And I tried to look up what time it was, but what caught me my eye when I went to the receipt is that I paid $18.20 for the book, including tax and everything. And I looked over at my brother's death certificate that I had on my desk at the time of his death was 1820. And you know, it's yeah, both the teachings in your book, Clint, as well as the loss of my brother at 16 or 18:20, 6:20 p.m. in the afternoon. I feel have saved my life, and the transformation that's taken place, and this miracle network and everything else, and you know, my big problem question is now what to do with that, you know, and you know that this gift has been given to me from you know, through you, from through Dr. Naram, through Denise, through life, through you know, my brother, through all these people that have played a significant role in ways that none of us anticipated. That, you know, what can I do? How can I use this gift of life, my life, to pay it forward, you know, into others' lives?
Can I share the before and after pictures you shared with me? They're so
Sure.
So this is Mike not even that long ago. This is his before picture.
This is July. This is July of this year.
July. And then watch this. This is just crazy. This is him. Just a picture recently. Amazing, huh? I'm gonna share the first one again one more time and then share that one again.
So
it's like, is that even the same person? You know?
So when you take medicines to lower your cholesterol and treat your blood pressure, there's adverse effects or side effects. I say that this is one opposite of adverse event is a desired event of doing the 30-day detox and going to a whole food plant-based diet. You might end up with a 6-pack abs. Caution.
Side benefit. Totally amazing. All right. I'm going to just close all the rooms and bring everyone back in here now. Amazing.
Well, thanks for letting me share that, Clint.
Oh, that was so amazing. So beautiful.
That picture, that before picture, was actually at the very spot where my brother passed away.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that you went out there to see it.
Yeah, that's I was taking a picture, and someone took a picture of me there where he passed.
Wow.
While he was mountain biking out on a beautiful day, with the sun.
Yeah, that's amazing. You know what I'll do is once everyone gets back on, I'll share those pictures again with everybody because they're so amazing.
How do I turn down the blush factor? There's a Zoom setting for that.
Andrea says, wow, total transformation. Andrea for humanity. Andrea, can you unmute and just say what you mean by that? I'd love to hear more. I don't know if you're able to unmute, Andrea. All right, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back.
It was too short.
Too short. I could hear you say, "Oh no, oh no!" Like, don't getting sucked back in. But this is such a delightful thing. I just want to show you in the room. I was in the room with Mike, and he was showing me his before picture just from July. This is from July. Look at this.
That's before the mung bean diet.
Yeah, and for him, one of his biggest problems was his brother dying. 2 years older than him at the age of 52, leaving 6 kids behind. Such a big problem, such a unbelievable, stressful challenge and shock, And then he read the book, and he took his blood test, and he changed his life. And this is a screenshot from just a picture he sent me just a couple of days ago. Look at him now. Isn't that amazing?
Well, what's more amazing what happens on the inside, as this is just a side effect. And, my cholesterol went from 263 to 136. And the inflammation in my body decreased by 72% from there's a biomarker where it was 95, went down to 27.
So Michael, what did you do exactly?
Well, I set up an appointment with Ayush Shakti, and I talked to them, and they said, if you want to reduce your cholesterol, there's some ways to do it naturally. You don't need to take medicine. And I said, does it work? And they said, sometimes, depends. And it depends if you actually do it or if you don't. And they suggest I do the 30-day detox. And I started on August 3rd, and I got my lab results done on September 2nd. And literally my doctor was shocked. He's like, I asked him if he's ever seen results like that before. He said, never. And he asked me what I did. I said, you're the doctor, you tell me. And, but this is possible. These healing miracles are absolutely possible for everybody. And I just had my blood drawn again on Friday. I should get new results tomorrow, just because I'm still curious and incredulous and disbelieving that they didn't mix up my sample last month with a teenager's blood sample. But
yeah, so there's a 30-day home detox, and a big part of it is just eating mung soup. Yeah, so it's one of my delightful joys is like even this last week as I've been traveling different places, everywhere I go, there's dear friends like Mike. And when I go to their house, they have mung soup for me to eat. It's amazing. When I go to Jack Canfield's home, and I stayed there for a couple weeks, first time I taught Inga how to make the soup, and now she's making the soup for me. So delicious. And they're just talking about how healthy they are and how happy they are, so fun. When I'm visiting with my dear friend Gary Malkin, he makes the most delicious mung soup. It's so fun. It's just like it is contagious healing. All right, now I want to give a chance, just in the final minutes. Maybe Jana can also help, pipe in. Actually, Jana, you got such a cute little guy there. Can you show him one more time? Oh yeah. Okay, that guy.
Hey Clint, I gotta go now, but I just wanted to say to everybody, I love you all, and if those of you are interested in the music that you heard, go to see in the chat window the website you can join our community or find out more about the work. I have to leave, but I love you all. Thank you, Clint.
I love you, Gary.
Take care.
All right, let's just in the last 7 minutes of this call, just want to hear from some people to share, what's your takeaway? What happened in your breakout room? What discoveries have you made on this call? What experiment do you want to do in this week? I don't know, Lisa Brewster, might you be one to share? Just unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself a little bit.
Sorry. Okay. Well, first, I have to say that I spent the first 3 minutes trying to figure out how to turn on my videos. So I apologize. This is new for me. So my group had to endure me trying to get the video to work. But besides that, I think one of the things that I resonated so much in my heart is how we talk to ourselves. The way that we talk to ourselves is almost like the reflection of the world is almost also the way that you feel about yourself. So you see the world a certain way because of the way you feel about you. And you have to be open and kind and loving to yourself so you can see other people's goodness, because if you don't see the goodness in you, you can't see it in somebody else. And that resonated so tremendously in me. I really recognize how sometimes you have to look at people differently, because you're looking at yourself and you judging people, but when you're judging them, you're really judging who you are, because you're not giving people the opportunity to show their kindness, because you're so judging within yourself. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys.
Oh, it totally makes sense. Wow, thank you for sharing. So powerful, Lisa. So glad you're here. Paula, I want to hear what your takeaway is from today.
Hello. Yes. So this morning I was finishing the update for the translators, and I have saved this video of Dr. Naram to watch before I did it. And I turn it on, and immediately what he starts to say is this, I'll quote him: "You are my family, you are my team, and you are my community, which I believe we are creating a big, powerful transformation. First, our own life, and then transferring this transformation in every heart so that this world is a powerful, happy, and peaceful." I get unimaginable response from you all. So what I was saying to Jana is that your mouth is open, mine was like that. It's like he's speaking from this exact moment. It's like when a person gets in this higher conscious states, he can speak. The time does not exist for them, and he's giving this message immediately for each of us.
That is so perfect, Paula. And I want to say Paula is coordinating all the translations that are happening, all the 27 plus, and a new translation started this week in Serbian. And so there's an opportunity for those who want to be involved. We actually need some people that can help with connecting with her and with the translators and making sure to follow up. If you have some time and you want to be a part of that whole miracle that's happening with the translations, it's such a magical experience to be a part of. Be a part of Dr. Naram's team and having these ancient secrets go in the world, then please contact Paula. Paula, can you put your information?
Absolutely, yeah.
In the chat, and then contact her. But I just want to say thank you, Paula. Fantastic. Okay, Afsena, you have something you want to share. I want to go to Afsena, and then a couple other people I want to hear from.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Beautiful voice.
Hi, hi everyone. Namaste. I just want to say a big thank you to Clint. Seriously, last week it's been so very painful, and every time I actually had a moment that I thought this is not worth it. I really want to leave as well, and I don't know. I mean, this has happened so many times, and for some unknown reason, I'm not very much into Facebook and that. I got on Facebook, and that was the video that Dr. Clint, you put, and you were reading somebody's message to you. And I seriously want to say thank you so much. You are just a very unusual person. I've never, ever in my life come across anybody like you at all, not even close. You keep showing up. You, it's like God is sending you to me. I'm so full of pain, but you kind of make me love my pain because I know something good is going to happen. I just want to say thank you.
We just want to celebrate with you for a moment here, Oksana, how much we love you. I'm just going to go to gallery view. If we go, all just rub our hands together and just send her so much love. Wow, we love you so much, Oksana.
Really, I love you all. I love you also. You have become, because I live alone and I work very hard, long hours, and there's been so much pressure. And this Zoom meeting is like my moment to be present, to be with God. And I see the God in all of you. I don't know how to say this. It's like I would die for you, But Dr. Clint, you are the magic. You are the magic in my life. My English is not that great for me to use beautiful words. You are when it's like you are the love. You are the peace of God in my life. I thank you. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. And thank you all. Thank you all.
Oksana, you're getting so much love from people in the chat. Linda says, so beautifully said. Eliza says, Oksana, stay strong. You are also light. Yolanda says, fear is false evidence appearing real. Janana says, I love you and I'm with you, Oksana. Andrea says, much love and comfort for you, Oksana. Savan, we love you. We're with you. Aparna, Oksana, your words are feeling are so beautiful. Renara says, you can call any of us anytime you want, and we're all here for you. And Oksana says, thank you. I want to say that, usually I'll deflect when someone's giving that much love, because there's been a lot of times in my life where I feel unworthy of, just receiving that much love. But in this moment, I want to say thank you. And I want to just receive it and just say, it's such a joy to be with you, Oksana, for you to say that these calls are like your moment with God, and for me to be a part of the conversation, the conduit in whatever ways. The beginning of the book, that very first quote says, I didn't come to teach you, I came to love you, and love will teach you. I don't know all the struggles and challenges everyone's facing, and all that I do and all that I can do is just show up and love you as much as I can do with my 100%. And I've been so impressed by everyone stepping up and loving each other in such a beautiful way. When I see the things like Carol going out of her way to start a call for people in New Zealand and Australia on a Friday night just because they can't make the live calls. No one asked her to do it. No one gave her that responsibility or assignment. She just saw a need and she leaned into love and she reached out and just coordinated this thing. I get so moved, when I see what Jana does. She sends me messages like every week. She's like, what's happening on this Sunday's call? How can I help? I have an idea. I have an inspiration. I'm like, please tell me. I want to know, because I feel like what we're collaboratively creating together is way better than anything any one of us could create on our own. And by you showing up with your heart, Oksana, by you showing up, you've given us so much. And each person who's on this call or listening to the recording, you being present with us is the greatest gift. I think the greatest gift any of us have is our time. It's our presence. And so to invest this time in your heart and in being present with those ways is so beautiful. Jana, you have something you want to share?
Oh my gosh, I have so many things I want to share. I hope that I can collect them all. Oksana, I just adore you. I have adored you since the first time I saw you. I love your energy. I love your spontaneity. I love what you did last week on Marion G's memorial was absolutely beautiful. It just touched. I had so many people message me telling me that even though they couldn't understand Farsi, they felt that poem so strongly, and you bring so much light into this world. I so appreciate you. This week has been, a really challenging week for me at the very beginning, and I have faced a lot of those fears and have just been so grateful for this community as I have leaned into this. You guys have caught me, and I can trust love. It's just beautiful. These calls are very sacred. I have received so much from these Sunday calls, and every single person on these calls brings something unique and precious, and we need you. So I love coming to these calls, and thank you, Dr. Clint, for facilitating this. Thank you for this platform. It's amazing.
So beautiful. And kind of coming back to the point of this call, taking our biggest challenges, turning them into our biggest blessings, even off saying what you said about you feel the pain and you start to love it, you know, because it's a gift, you know. Even pain is a teacher. It teaches you where's something out of alignment, either physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. It's the check engine light saying something's out of alignment. In fact, you're meant to live with more joy and love than you are now. And so that pain is just reminding you, oh, slow down, go into the silence, be present, ask yourself better questions, you know, than you have been asking. Ask yourself, what's the gift in this? Yeah, so beautifully said. Thank you so much. Aparna says, my takeaway, trust love. Thanks, Jana. Sarabjit says, this community is like a safety net. Oh, it's so true. So beautiful. Michelle says, much, much, much love. I send love and peace to you all, my extended family. I love that. I love when Hunch, he gets so excited for the calls too. He's like, I can't wait for these calls. And I'm like, I feel the same way. It's like at the beginning of the call, I think Sarabjit says, hello, my spirit family, my soul family. So this week, actually before that, just because we're close, but I want to hear from two other people we haven't really heard from before very much, or maybe even at all. I just want to see real quick if, let's see. Maybe actually Ellen, Mary, Elizabeth, would you share just your takeaway from today? I just want to hear your voice and hear what you have to share. I don't know if you can unmute yourself. Oh, we can't hear you. Are you able to unmute yourself? Let's see if you can. All right. Well, while we're waiting for you, it's not, for some reason it's not unmuting, so maybe you just want to type in the chat. Kathy, I want you to unmute yourself. I want you to just share from your heart, whatever's your takeaway from today. Do you know how to unmute? Oh, there we go. Fantastic.
I just love this community. Ever since I've been part of it, I just feel the love that's coming from everybody. It's just awesome. And when you shared the story with Milo that was biting you, was trying to give you a message, that was a big takeaway for me, that we need to ask better questions and to listen more closely to each other. I think that's, yeah. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kathy. Man, Savan says, thank you, Jana. Wow, Dr. Clint, you said it. All pain is asking you to ask questions, etc. I should do that. Michael says, ask better questions. What's a better question is my question. Chris says, that's my takeaway too. Eliza, who's helping with translation into Russian. So grateful for you. What's your takeaway from today?
Well, thank you for being so courageous and sharing this very personal experience, and about, knowing to be strong, because when we are vulnerable, we actually show strength, and we can drive that power out of that. And sometimes we can tame a person or a situation, and sometimes we won't, but that's fine. It's still, we learn about our own strength when we do that. And I would love to try to ask better questions, and we are at the age of unknown. We are like that meditation that started, and I hope that by this call we are all very, very well equipped to deal with anything that comes about. And thanks to you, Clint, and this translation for me is very very therapeutic, I have to say, in some unexplainable way.
Well, I can't
So
wait to hear more about
I
that.
send you all my love and
Oh,
to everyone on the call.
yeah, I love them. So many of the people who are translating say that same thing, that the translation is therapeutic. So beautiful. Okay, Krishav, and then we'll go back to Ellen, Mary, and see if we can hear you. Krishav?
Yep. So I'm Sanjay. So
Sanjay.
yeah, so Dr. Clint and everyone, when today you were telling that there is always some blessing in their problem, and for entire 1 hour, I was thinking, is it really, because there is a problem and it is related to some medical problem, and I was keep on thinking, no, what is the blessing in that if I'm carrying that problem? And when we went in the breakout room, the same question I asked over there. Hey, I have got knee problem and I see the pain, but what is the blessing in that if having that problem? And when I was talking, and then it is struck in my mind, hey, because of that problem I joined this group. If that problem was not there, I would have not joined this group. So I'm so grateful, whether that problem goes or not, I'm not worried, now. I'm so thankful.
You demonstrated for us exactly the point. When you start asking a question, a different question, and you open up a different possibility. And what's the gift in this? What's the gift in this knee pain? You couldn't think of one, but because you're asking the question, your brain had to find an answer. And the answer is this. Yolanda says, thank you everyone for sharing the stories and your love. I know this is a safe place to be vulnerable, and it's comforting to know that I have this community. Ah, so beautiful. And Ellen Mary, are you able to speak now?
I think I'm unmuted now. So
perfect.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to say thank you for sharing your 30-day experiment in silence, because that's very inspirational to me. And I'll put that in my list of things that I want to do at some point in the future, because it does seem very valuable to drop into that stillness. And our minds are very busy, if we're in the world at all. It takes a lot of focus just to drop into the heart and stay there. I wanted to say in our sharing for the small group that when we talked about writing a problem journal and keeping track, I shared an experience I had with something called the mirror practice. So if you're frustrated with someone for how they acted and you write it out, say for Milo, you would say, I'm frustrated that you bit me, I feel hurt, and then you, and then you flip it around and then you say, I'm frustrated with myself. I feel, I hurt myself. And then you look at everything that you think somebody else did to you and you realize that it's your perception. And then you drop into that place of seeing the innocence, as you saw, in the other, and then coming back to seeing the innocence in yourself. Because if you leave that part out, it's not complete. Like if you go to the innocence of the other and then put the blame on yourself, it's not the stillness speaking. It's just reversing that. But the idea is to get to this place of unconditional love, where we realize everyone's doing the best they can, and love really is all there is when we drop into that silence. And how can I walk in love today? How can I see beauty everywhere I go? How can I uplift those who might be suffering? And that's really, like, I'm very grateful for this group because it feels so heart-centered and so supportive and real. And so just wanted to say thank you.
Ah, so beautiful. Thank you so much, Ellen Mary. So many resources. Even as I'm discovering more and more of the principles and how they apply to almost every aspect, I feel like Sanjay said, there's no problem that we face. Like any problem has a solution, and there's a lot of resources we can turn to. One is this book. I also put the website for where you can go for silence. Ellen Mary, for 10 days, it's free. You just sign up for one of these things. You go to dhamma.org. There's also lots of other places you can go. Arlene put the resource of Katie Byron, who also does this beautiful work that you're talking about. And I just think as a community, we're here to support and love each other and to create something that's never existed before on planet Earth. Arlene mentions that many times. She's like, wow, we're doing something that's never happened before. We're creating a certain type of interactions in community that's not based on anything other than just, we really want to love each other, serve each other, and have certain healing come. And by using tried and true principles, ancient secrets for thousands of years, so that each of us can live more fully what we're born here to do. So I just want to thank everyone so much. You know, we're already definitely over the time that I was anticipating, but I just want to say I love you. I'm with you. You can unmute yourself if you want to and say I love you. I'm with you. And just everyone who shared, I just want to give you so much love and gratitude. Thank you so much for being a part of this miracle community. Love you, and I'm with you.
Love you, and I'm with
And I'm with
you.
you.
Love you
Love
and I'm
you,
with
I'm
you.
with
Love you
you.
and I'm with
With
you.
you, with you.
Love
I
you and
love
I'm with
you.
you.
I
Love
love
you.
you, I'm with you.
I love you, and I'm
Take
with
care.
you.
Oh, I love you and I'm with you.
Ah, I love you.
That's good.
Oh.
So sweet. Love you, and I'm with you.
Thank
See you
you.
next
Love
week.
you.